Hey, what's up, everybody? Sunday Toy Talk live stream. I've got with me today Dan Cast, Mr. Dan Thompson.
How are you, Terry?
Wonderful. Oh, and Darth David, Mr. David T. Allen.
I feel like we're in Hollywood Squares and I got to move up the square.
Coming from me or coming from one of you guys? It's probably coming from me.
What was
I'll
that?
kill that. So there we go. We good now?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, David? How's it going, buddy?
Hey, David.
Oh, I'm doing great. It's been a really cool week. A lot of fun things going on. Free Comic Book Day. Fourth be with you. That's why I'm Darth David today. Yay!
So, yeah, Dan ran. What's that? Oh yeah,
I'm in my Star Wars room.
Yes, David has a Star Wars room. So Dan, you ran Free Comic.
You may not realize that. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, it's been a weird week for me. Monday, I got some bad family news. I have a uncle that's having heart surgery, and my brother-in-law was in a motorcycle accident. So the week started bad, but it ended great because the brother-in-law is home from the hospital and doing all right. Uncle's about to have the surgery, and then we had Free Comic Book Day yesterday, and we literally did almost an entire month in one day. That's how busy it was, and it was a really great day, and everyone left happy. And we still have some stuff left over. And we're probably going to run an encore event on Wednesday, the first new book day of May.
Man, that's really great to hear that you're doing that kind of business with a comic store. It's good to see that independent businesses like that are doing well.
It's definitely been tough the last 5 years. You know, starting with 2020, and it didn't get any better. And a lot of it's kind of industry driven, and then outside forces like the economy and stuff. But yeah, it's a struggle, it's a fight. But as long as you mind your P's and Q's, you can make it through and keep pushing forward. But yeah, we had a phenomenal day. Honestly, the number we did, which I don't give out numbers and stuff like that, proprietary information. Well, that's a mouthful there. But it was a record for me in 18 years. Like I beat my biggest day. I beat by I think $5,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was I went home. I'm on my detox diet right now. I'm drinking I call it my Life Shake, and I broke the diet last night. I was like, I know I'm not supposed to eat meat or drink alcohol, but I'm doing both tonight. And I did. And then I went home and watched the 13th Warrior for the third time in the day. So it was a good day, a good night.
So toy show.
Real quick, for those who don't know,
go ahead.
It's kind of an inside joke and gimmick at our store that we watch the 13th Warrior all the time. And we actually, there's no official thing about this, but I'm pretty sure we have the most viewings of that movie for probably the last 15 years, every day of the week, sometimes twice a day, have viewed that movie. I think we've watched it more than it was on in the theaters. So yeah, it's our good luck charm. We put it on, we get busy.
I think we're actually going to watch Thunderbolts at home here soon, maybe this evening.
I'm going to be going tonight to see it at the theater myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I've heard mixed things on it. Mostly good, though.
I have a lot of really good things.
2 good end credit scenes, from what I understand. Two end credit scenes, I understand, that are good.
Ellen, remind me to tell you guys something when the show ends that I can't reveal yet.
Okay.
Toy wise.
The Thunderbolts end credit scene is supposed to be the longest of any MCU movie yet.
Really?
Yeah. I'm curious what it entails.
Something to do with Doctor Doom, I believe. They said it was filmed on the set of Doctor Doom, whatever, Doom War or whatever it is. They said it was filmed. So
nice.
There you go. Hopefully that doesn't spoil it for people that want to go see it. Sorry.
No, I don't think it'll spoil it for anybody. We don't have any details. I don't have any details. So
neither do I.
But
All
yeah,
I know is that Kurt Russell's son is in it.
I don't know. I need to look on Disney and see how much it is to stream that right now. I'm sure that it's probably $20, but
Oh, can you stream those movies that are in theaters right now?
usually yes. Sometimes not. It just depends on how they release it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Kurt Russell's son, he plays the U.S. agent, Dan, from the West Coast Avengers. Then he went on and did a bunch of mini-series and things like that. And he was during Civil War. He had a big role. I'm trying to think of what the U.S. agent's name is. But he was the
John
replacement.
Walker.
John Walker, right. He was the replacement Captain America during Captain America Falcon, the mini-series, I think. Oh no,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
Falcon
during
and
the
the Winter
Mark
Soldier.
Grimwald run.
So it is not available to stream or rent on Disney Plus, but there is a Thunderbolts special look
During this run.
a little short 3-minute documentary on there. But I'll wait until it comes out to Disney Plus because I already pay for that, and I'm not really into going to the theater anymore to watch movies.
It won't be that long. It'll be probably about 4 months. I bet by August you'll have it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Something to watch with my daughter and my son because he'll be here in July.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He'll be about a year old by then, probably.
After a month?
Yeah. I mean, not a year, a month old.
I'm like, is he super accelerated aging or something?
No, a month old. I meant to say a month old. I'm sorry. He's not going to know what the hell you're watching, but yeah, that's good to get them embroiled in this type of stuff young so they can absorb it when they're little babies. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So I think first off, I want to talk about developments or non-developments with my endeavor to make action figures in the United States. So the cost prohibitions versus what it is that I would make. The line and story that we're working on, Dan, I don't think that the mold cost, at least right now with this company, is going to fit that project because it's not that I don't have faith in it. It's that I just don't think that we are going to have the customer base starting off to make as many figures as what we would need to make them cost effective for the end buyer, for the customer. But there is another project that I might be able to get going for U.S. produced action figures. They would be just O-ring action figures, something along the lines of like bad guy army builders that would fit in with all of these other companies that are making O-ring action figures right now. We have one company in particular making good guy army builders, and I might be able to do bad guy army builders that would kind of fit with that.
Is that the guy that's doing that Vietnam run of figures where there's sailors, there are troops, and there's this and that?
Heavy Armor Toys, yes, they are making O-ring action figures with, they're basically just all good guy troop builders. They're themed to go along with G.I. Joe and other O-ring style action figures. They have additional articulation in the neck and wrist, and they're pretty nice figures, man. I've got a couple of them. I think they have a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I would like to see those.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I was interested in that Kickstarter. Out of all these Kickstarters, that one was the one that I was most interested in because I thought when Super 7 did Reaction Sailors, I was like, oh, finally someone's going to do troop builders for the backgrounds and the extra stuff and all this. But they never did. And so that company found a niche, and I always wanted to get that.
What's the retail on those figures?
I think they're around $20-$25.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
And are they O-rings or are they modern sculpts?
They are O-rings.
Okay.
But with Hasbro updated things like the wrists, right? And you said the neck has a different articulation, right?
Yeah, the wrists are not a Hasbro updated item. That's completely third party.
No, but Hasbro's the one that did the twists on the O-ring that they did, the 2-packs from about 5 years ago. They started that
Did
on
they?
O-ring. Yes.
Hmm.
And they did the silicone O-ring instead of the rubber O-ring. And they did the new formula for O-ring that doesn't have the mercury or whatever that makes them yellow.
That's believe boron that makes them yellow.
Boron then. Something.
Yeah,
I knew it was something.
I'm pretty sure it's boron.
But yeah, their updated versions that they did like 4 or 5 years ago have all new different things, a whole bunch of new things in them.
Yeah, this one doesn't, and this is one of the troopers from the 2-pack.
It is? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't have a wrist?
No. It's just regular O-ring articulation. I'm fairly certain they did not update wrists on Hasbro products.
I thought they did with those 2-packs. I could have swore they said that when they.
That's part of one of the 2-packs. I've got others hanging up there I'm looking at right now that don't have it. I've got Snake Eyes, Duke, Cobra Commander. None of them have it.
Wow, I'm surprised. I could have swore they said they announced that. But
No.
if you say so, I have them. I just haven't opened mine up. I haven't opened mine up, so I don't.
Talked about.
What's that?
I said it might have been something they talked about and just never executed.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean that seems to happen quite a bit, but yeah, that's a third party thing so far. Skeletron did it with theirs, I believe. Call Sign Longbow is doing the same thing, and so is Operation Recall. I believe. Don't hold me to that.
No, I know they are, and I think when I interviewed both of those, 2 or 3 of those companies, I believe they said they got it from Hasbro, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, the Hasbro don't have it for sure.
Okay, well then I'm not sure where I got that from, but I got my bat though. I got my Super 7 O-ring plus or Reaction Plus bat finally. I didn't have it. I didn't bring it out here to show you guys, but I finally got it. It took me like nearly 8 months, but I did get it.
Yeah, I know it took forever to get those from BBTS, and Super 7 had restocked at one point. For a very short period of time. I know I had them as well, and Dan, I think you had them too, didn't you? Did you buy into those?
The Super 7 bats? No. I don't know. Maybe that might have been offered to us, but with all the stuff with Diamond, because we have to get Super 7 through Diamond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it who knows? Because I never got my Wave 1s, and we'd ordered those.
That sucks, man.
So,
what was the outcome? Was there ever an outcome with that?
They're I think going to chapter 7 now.
Really?
Somebody tell me, because the only thing I get from them really now is Dynamite Entertainment comics, which is like Space Ghost, Herculoids, Thundercats.
Alliance Entertainment bought them. Alliance Entertainment bought them, so they're coming out. They're coming back.
No, it didn't go through.
It did. Alliance didn't get it?
No, it didn't go through. There was something that Diamond didn't do. They didn't. I've never filed Chapter 11, and hopefully never will have to. But apparently, when you file Chapter 11, there's certain paperwork you have to fill out, disclosures, and Diamond didn't do it. So now it takes them right to Chapter 7.
Diamond Comics distributors announced on Wednesday that the District of Maryland's United States Bankruptcy Court approved a combined bid by Canadian comics distributor, Universal Distribution, and pulp culture manufacturer and licensor, Ad Populum, to acquire Diamond's assets.
Yeah, so they're going to be selling off their assets, and they're going to probably be closing up.
Yeah, they're done. They are toast.
But it just goes to show, if you don't dot your I's and cross your T's, I mean, it's just simple paperwork they needed to fill out, and they neglected it. So it's just they're just a mess. But the only thing we were really getting from them was like some import toys, non-Hasbro stuff, and then Dynamite Entertainment stuff. Which I think Dynamite's going to Penguin Random House. They have. I don't think they've announced yet, but Titan Comics, which is the other one that we got from them. They're going to Lunar, and then I think Dynamite is probably going to go to Penguin.
Yes, this is a doll collecting live stream that we have going here. So from Cobra Emperor, Zero Python Patrol ones. I'm banking on those being available on the Super 7 site. Target kind of sucks with keeping anything in their stores. I know a lot of people that have been buying those figures in store at Target. A buddy of mine found several of them. I've seen people posting about them. And of course, if you get on eBay, you see a shit ton of them going for $40 to $60 a piece.
Wow.
But I'm holding out for Super 7 to have them on their website at the $20 price point. They usually do that with their exclusives. That's what they've done in the past. That and I keep checking the Target website, but Target has removed that item from their app and website. It says item not available if you follow a link to that figure.
I'm hoping they're going to have it at Joe Fest next month and I'll get it there. But I have been looking at all my Targets trying to find it because usually those exclusives are in store and they're very easy to get in store. I've gotten every one of them in store. So
things are different now, David, and they may be very different going forward.
Yeah, I've not seen any of those O-rings in any of our Targets here in Louisville.
So, David, you had something you wanted to discuss. Let me see if I can get that pulled up. What exactly does this entail?
Well, I wanted to make sure you covered your news 100%. You said you're going to do some troop builder villain O-rings.
No. Sir, stop just a second, man. I didn't say that I'm going to do anything. I'm working on hopefully making it happen. Just to make sure that's clear, I'm working on making that happen. And if I can't, then I can't. Yeah, just want to make sure nobody hears this and thinks I'm doing this. It's something I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to misunderstand that at all.
Okay. Was that all you wanted to announce?
Yes, that was it. So this is on the Full Force. I'm going to screen share this. Full Force, it was a graph that the Full Force had shared. They actually have a lot of information on their website or on their Facebook page with things that different people are releasing from day to day and talking about. Let's see. We have, let me find it. I know that it's on here. What was that, 4 days ago, David?
The graph? Yeah, but I shared it to you today, so you should have it on your messenger.
Yeah, but I don't want to. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, that should work. Present. Screen share. Should have been a little more clear on that.
No, that's all right. So the Full Force shares these type of things because they're a little bit more involved with a lot of this type of things. And so they've shared this a few days ago, and I thought it was very interesting. It gives a little bit of a better shine of the light of what is happening. And I don't know if you can read that. I could probably bring it up on my phone and read it. But I thought this was very interesting, and I thought the folks would like to see this. Let's see. So it shows orders that will go out of business or stores that will go out of business within weeks and months. 46% small toy companies, 46%, and mid-size toy companies, 45%. And then it shows are canceling orders, 64% small toy companies and 80% mid-size companies. And then are delaying orders, 81% and for small size toy companies, 87% for mid-size toy companies. Now, this was the Christmas 2025 at-risk percentage. It says 96% of American toy companies are small and mid-sized businesses. 50% of them say they will soon go out of business due to current U.S. tariff policies. So that's what this is. And I thought it was definitely worth a discussion because both of you are small toy businesses, maybe not companies that make toys, but sell toys and order toys and do conventions and are vendors and things like that. But I don't know if you fall into any of these categories.
So I think we both do, but as far as the stuff that I do, I'll probably, if things become difficult for me to obtain or too costly to obtain, what I'll probably end up doing is just going back to selling nothing but buying and flipping collections, selling custom stuff, vintage stuff. I know, Dan, your model's a little bit different. You've got a lot of stuff in your store, so.
Well, I just ordered a bunch of Hasbro product for Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and Marvel Legends all the way through almost the end of the year. And there's been zero talk of price increases on our end. And I think some of this, I'm curious that most of the tariffs, except on China, are on hold for so many days. And I just find it interesting that there was automatically some information that I don't know how this could be compiled in a week when the tariffs literally just started on China.
So May 2nd was the start date for the tariffs on China, right?
What's that?
May 2nd was the start date for the tariffs on China, right?
I believe so. So that was 2 days ago, but yet they had they were able to poll I guess all the toy companies, or I don't know, just I don't know how any company would have time to answer a website's poll, but
I'm curious as to what companies were polled and exactly what this entails. I mean, it seems to me that this information is more based on speculation than anything else.
I believe so too. I mean, we're what 2 days into a tariff, and at best it's a temporary thing. So I mean, my question is like, and I've mentioned something to you guys earlier in the studio about there was a podcast that says something about Super 7 and some of these other ones that are putting tariff prices on toys that they have in stock. Because I had somebody ask me, "Are you going to raise your prices?" I'm like, "No. Why would I? I already own it. Like, why would I raise prices on stuff that I already have?"
David, you talk to Brian Flynn, don't you?
I do. Now, I have two things I want to add to this conversation. One, you guys know my background, where I work, and the business that I am involved in, and we are not changing prices. We random price changes to fluctuate sales and things like that on things during seasonal times, but toys, they're not changing prices to my knowledge, and we are not increasing stuff. And I'll say this: Hasbro is gone so far as to add merchants back to my business where they had cut merchants out for 2 or 3 years. Now we're going to be getting merchants back in doing business with us, coming in and working Hasbro products, like merchants for Mattel, merchants for Lego, merchants for Spin Master. So they cut that for 2 or 3 years. Now they're bringing them back. So if they're making enough money to bring back merchants into big box store businesses to help sell their business, then they must be doing better than people realize. But they're a large, obviously, they're not on this chart. They're the big boys where I work. And yes, I talked to Brian Flynn. I've got another interview scheduled soon with him. It hasn't gone on the calendar yet. As soon as I get that on the calendar, that is my number one question. What is the situation with the tariffs?
So I'm looking at the Ring Plus or the Reaction Plus figures right now. Those all have the same $20 price point. Looks like they've marked down some of the reaction figures to $18. They've got some of the Ultimates figures, $55.
Yeah,
Which is
the
the
new
normal price.
Thundercats wave. The new Thundercats wave just went up last week, and it's the same price it's been for the last 7 years, $55, or 4
Now,
years,
some
I
of
should say.
the
50,
Ultimates I'm
then it
looking
went
at
to
here.
55. Yeah, went up. Yeah.
Let's look at the in-stock Ultimates and see what they're priced at.
Yeah, in stock. That's different.
As soon as it loads here.
Because they started at 50 and they went to 55 a while ago, but they haven't moved from the 55 in some time.
So Dungeons and Dragons Ultimates, this is a larger glow-in-the-dark figure. That one is $65. Their little pop-up here gets annoying about the put your email in for whatever shit.
They do have deluxe figures. There are
Toho
deluxe
Ultimates, $55. I really want that that Ghost figure they're pushing right now. The Papa V, Papa 5. I want that figure. I'm probably going to order that. It's $65, but he comes with a lot of stuff, a lot of soft goods. It's a really nice looking figure. My daughter will love that because that's one of her favorite bands right now. Let's see. G.I. Joe Ultimates, the Cobra Mortals, $55. The Clear Dungeons and Dragons is $55. I don't see as where they've raised prices on really anything.
No, but I did get an email from them. I got one from Entertainment Earth, Bad Toy, and them. Whatever they can, they're going to try to mitigate that increase, but there is going to be incremental increases going forward. So they're going to try and cut it back if they can, and they're going to try to spread it out across the board so it's not all like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's not all G.I. Joe, it's not all this, that. They're going to try to incrementally spread it across the board. All these emails were about the same thing. The Entertainment Earth one kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Their announcement was a little bit more rude. It was like, we don't have the business plan to deal with this, so we're giving you that extra cost and we don't care kind of attitude. That's the gist I got from Entertainment Earth. That's why I haven't been doing business with them for a while now. I got my last figures like 4 or 5 months ago, and that's it. I haven't ordered anything else from them. But that's just me.
I've had issues with them in the past where they don't disclose shipping charges.
Yes.
And then they have they kind of predatory practices where if you want to order, like I can order through 2 of my vendors, I can order Hasbro product and it's regular retail price for me and my cost is the same. If I go through Entertainment Earth and order 1 case, I can't. I have to mark it up, or I have to order 8 to 10 cases so I can sell at the same price as Target. And I don't, and I'm like, well, why do they do that, but these other 2 don't? You know, and I guess there's reasons because they're also an online retailer where these other 2 are not. But at the same time, I don't think that's right. So I don't do a lot of business with them anymore. Now I did order. I had to order the Mattel He-Man Thundercat figures, 1 or 2 waves from them. But I will be ordering Mattel through somebody else here pretty soon, which will be pretty awesome.
The main thing I see with all of this stuff, man, is a lot of Chicken Little. The sky is falling before anybody even knows what's going on. And it seems like nobody's willing to wait and actually see what happens before jumping to major conclusions. I know Fans Hobby, like I tried to bring in some Fans Hobby stuff, and even getting it in bulk, the shipping was outrageous. And then on top of that, by the time it got here, I was going to have a tariff on it. And it's not worth it for me to do that when you can buy it, order it from overseas and get it cheaper.
Well, you know, the thing is, like, China's economy is not that good. So they really can't play this game of chicken like everybody thinks they can. Everybody says our economy is not that great, which it's not, but it's getting better. And you can just see the recent jobs report that came out on Friday. Everything is up for the most part, as far as like job creation, steel mill, steel workers, all that stuff, all the things. And then Ford CEO just came out and said they're going to build 2 new Ford plants here in America. And and as far as like the toys, which I think is I don't think the governments of the world are like too worried about. I mean, I'm a toy collector. We're all toy collectors, but I'm not just trying to diminish what we do or anybody out there, but I don't think we're the top priority.
No,
Just like when stuff comes from China and it sits on the West Coast in the docks because they can't have gas powered trucks go to the docks to pick up the merchandise. They have to have electric trucks in California to go to the docks to pick that up, and then the longshoremen will go on strike. The first thing they're going to get out of those containers are food and medicine, not
right.
toys. Because I had to explain this to a customer that got mad at me because something was held in the docks. And I'm like, well, if I had controls over the unions and Chinese shipping routes, I probably wouldn't be running a comic and toy store. I'd probably be doing something else. But that most of the Hasbro stuff, toy wise, is now made in Vietnam, which Vietnam has publicly said we're going to go 0 for 0, meaning they're not going to have any tariffs on American goods, and we won't have any tariffs on their goods. So literally, it would be like, hey Terry, I want to sell you this, and then you want to sell me that. Cool. There's no extra tax or charge. And I do think I agree with you, Terry. I think it's a little bit of speculation, and I think it's some people are trying to change public opinion, and I don't know what skin they have in the game. I don't know if they're going to get invited to certain conventions or parties as a result of this. But I think as a country, it's like I explained to a customer, it's like you've been punched in the face for 30 years. I'm punching you in the face for 30 years, Terry, and then you punch me back. David can't get mad that you punched me in the face. And that's what's been going on for 30 years with our jobs and all that.
What's more than that is the fact that I see a lot of people acting like the whole thing with the toy industry is a vital need for survival type of product, and there's nobody doing anything, or at least there doesn't seem to be, nobody's talking about it, doing anything to try and mitigate that and make it somewhere else. Like I get it, dude. Like China's the cheapest route. China's got the cheapest slave labor available. I mean, kids can throw these G.I. Joe figures together super quick, and we all support the slave labor because we buy the products, but they don't want to look into how it can be made here. You're one of the people.
There was a rumor that
manufactured a comic book in the United States. You've had it printed. You've had it. I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, and like periodicals and books are exempt from tariffs. But yeah, as far as me, like I go through the same printer that Brian Polito goes through for all his Kickstarters and the stuff that he used to send to Diamond. Well, I guess he'll send it to another distributor now. But is that too soon to throw salt on Diamond? But I'm not a big fan of Diamond. I've had to deal with them for 18 years, and they've been nothing but a mitigated disaster.
What's the rumor, David?
There is a rumor that Hasbro has been building a factory, and they've kept it under wraps in Mexico for the last 2 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would help a lot.
Now, one of the reasons for manufacturing this stuff overseas is that China's regulations are like next to zero. They don't have any environmental regulations. They don't have any labor laws. They don't have any of this stuff like we do in the U.S. And I don't want that to seem like I'm saying they don't have anything at all. It's just not like what we have in the U.S. What we have in the U.S. is pretty restrictive, and I know that a lot of the paint that they use, I guess, is supposed to be toxic or something. I don't know all of the specifics well enough to put information out about it, but I think that some of the opinion of things not being able to be made in the U.S. is probably based on that.
Well, I know back in the day, paint had lead in it, and kids used to chew the walls and get sick from lead paint.
Are you not supposed to do that?
So that's probably true.
Are you not supposed to do that?
I think Mexico.
No, yeah. You're not supposed to do that?
Lone Dragon says Mexico and India would be the best places to manufacture to. Like, I think Mexico would probably be one of the best just for transporting it into the U.S., if nothing else. It doesn't have to cross an ocean.
Shoot, I'll have to get in good with the cartels so I can get, like, G.I. Joes and all that quicker at my store.
Might not buy anything new until tariffs are gone. Yeah, I mean, there's always that. There's always just buying secondary market. Some of the stuff you're going to pay a lot more for than what you would by paying for a tariff product, but some of it you'll probably get cheaper. I mean, obviously we do that with G.I. Joe and other action figures now. I'll wait for Ollie's. I'll wait for Ross. We'll see what their prices look like.
You're going to get that his tank at
I've
Ollie's
never been one of those people. I've never been an Ollie's or Ross person. If I'm going to support something, I'm going to support it. I'm not made of money, but I want to support the things that I like in order for them to be successful. If you can't support something fully in the way to make the thing successful, then you're not really supporting it, in my opinion.
Well, that's one of the reasons, that's not the reason, but a small reason why the modern line stopped is because people stopped buying them and were waiting for them to go to discounters.
Yeah, you had people pushing on forums and whatnot.
It's like, if you're Hasbro, why even make this stuff if you're not going to buy it? Because they have to subsidize all that. Yep. That's why they had to restructure some stuff with Marvel Legends and Star Wars, because they got hosed 2021, 2022, and 2020, really 21 and 22, and part of 2023 with Ollie stuff.
But that's why Dungeons and Dragons took a dive, Indiana Jones took a dive, Power Rangers took a dive.
Does that mean prices on these are going to go up?
Probably, because remember when we were in the dark days and there was nothing, all the vintage stuff went up to crazy prices, and then classified came and things went back down or even out a bit. Now people are going back to vintage and old stuff, and they're gonna go up again.
Yeah, maybe I'm picking a wrong time to sell off a bunch of my vintage stuff.
Yeah. As long as you make more than what you paid for, it's never a wrong time.
Hey, let's get into this news. This is phenomenal news. Yesterday was Free Comic Book Day, and guess who's on the cover? Hound.
I can't see it.
Can't see that.
A little blurry.
Hound.
I don't know. Hound. Yeah. Can't see
nice.
That. Hound.
And Hound is the vamp, right?
Yeah, I love him. There's Clutch. Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day. I don't know if this is going to come out clear, but I'm going to try and show it. Anyways, here's the big news that broke the internet. Can you see that guy?
No, I don't.
Let me see. Let's see if I can get this at a better angle. Sorry. Can you see that guy now?
I can't tell what that is, dude.
Oh, all right. Well, it's a character. His name is Matt Tracker.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
So Matt Tracker.
Matt Tracker from Mask, but the internet has called him Black Tracker because he's African American again.
Hasn't he been for a while though?
Let me see. I guess from the IDW Revolution continuity crossover, he was Black Tracker there. I didn't think that Skybound was going to follow through with that, but they have. To each their own, I suppose. I'm not too thrilled with it. That's my personal feelings, people.
I mean, I think it totally makes sense with it not being Marvel. That was a Marvel comic originally, right? Mask?
DC. It came out. DC did a brief run with it. What I read the issue this morning, and what's interesting about it, and this is a bit of a spoiler, so people might want to close their ears if they haven't read it yet. But Clutch brings Hound to Matt's garage to work on him. And Clutch is surprised that Matt is not surprised at all to see a giant robot, and somehow knows how to work on him. And he's like, and he can't really talk about that. He's like, lets you know that, like, yeah, I can't really talk about this. And he's like, do me a favor, don't tell anybody you saw me. So I have a theory. Now, this is my theory. This isn't anything I've read or been told. It's just my theory because I've missed the last couple of conference calls of Skybound. But this is my theory that I think that Mask is going to come out of like deceased Transformers to where, or that they're going to have the transformation cogs of deceased ones where they can sort of transform the cars. And I almost wonder if their vehicles are going to have personalities, and maybe it's connected to the helmets or something. And then I read the new Void Rivals came out this week, and I read that. And apparently in the letters page, I was reading the letters page, and apparently there was some reference to Visionaries in the previous issue. And I looked through it and I don't see it, but I'm going to reread it.
I didn't see that, so I'm not sure. I did not see that Visionary thing. I imagine there was gonna be, because the basis of what they're doing with Void Rivals, Transformers, the Quintessons, and all these spacefaring type things, I would not be surprised to see Visionaries in there pop up at some point on a planet someplace, or maybe one of these races from the ring ends up going to a planet and they become the Visionaries. I don't know, but I do think they're going to come into it, Visionaries. It's the most easily transitional property in Hasbro to the Void Rivals continuity, in my opinion. But there is something. There's 3 stories in this Energon universe special. Each one of them ends with a character saying, "We're going to war." 3 different stories: G.I. Joe, Transformers, and who's the other one? Transformers, G.I. Joe, and the Quintessons. All separate stories, each of them ending with, "We're going to war." So the crossover that's been rumored for the last year, the Energon universe has been building towards. I think Mask will get involved in that, possibly Visionaries. But the 3 major factions in this, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and the Quintessons, are going to war.
Maybe I read something different, because the only thing I saw was the Quintessons are going to attack the Void Rival people.
Well, look at the last bubble on every page. It says, "We're going to war. We're going to war. We're going to war."
Yeah,
I have 3 issues I need to read, so I'm going to read those probably sometime this evening.
And G.I. Joe, I just read G.I. Joe #6, and that was really good too.
Yeah.
The fight with Duke and Cobra Commander was amazing.
Oh, this also came out. So if you really want to get all the free comic book day, here's a Transformers one that you might like, Terry. Can you see that?
Worst butt ever. Yeah, what is it?
It's a Transformers free comic book day special. It's a little bot, but he's a terrible bot, and things happen around him. It's fun.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. I should be able to
so
download
that's a lot of the Skybound news.
Yeah, I should be able to download those.
They're going to be releasing the free comic book day issue is going to be released as a normal issue. You could order it. I already ordered it. So it's going to have a different cover. It's going to have pictures, art from all the 3 stories on the cover. And this is just the spoilery cover with Hound and Clutch.
Let's see. Energon. Nope.
So, Dan, keep up with those Energon calls.
Yeah. It sometimes didn't work with my schedule, but
yeah, I don't see it up on Amazon yet to download.
All right.
Well, Terry, swing by the shop and I'll give you some of them.
Okay. Yeah, let's see.
I ordered up on all that stuff, so we have extras. I had some leftovers from last year's and had them out on our table next to this year's, and people were scooping them up. So I'm happy that we're trying to push. I guess we're the anomaly with stores, because we actually push product, even if we obviously don't get kickbacks, but we're just fans of it. And it's some stores you go in and ask them, like, "Hey, do you have the Avengers?" And they're like, "We don't know what that is." I won't name what store that is, but then there's us that you come in and like, do you guys have this comic? Oh yeah, we love it. And here it is. And we'll walk you over to it, and we show them around, and we offer other suggestions, and and if someone doesn't like your suggestion, we're not like, whoa, you can't come back. We're like, cool. How'd you like the one you got? Because our big sellers right now are the Absolute books, Ultimate Spider-Man, and GI Joe, Transformers, and Void Rivals.
What
And then
about Dogman?
Batman. What's that?
What about Dogman? How's that selling for you?
It's selling pretty good, but I mean, we've not been like, I'm probably one of the few stores that caters to kids, and it's the industry has not catered to kids, so people don't think like, oh, I'm gonna take my kid to the comic book store and there'll be something there for them. But we have a big Dogman display, and it usually it lasts till about the next Dogman book comes out.
So that
But we
means you're
sell it.
selling out of Dogman per issue or trade paperback.
What's that?
That means you're selling out of every trade paperback you get of Dogman until the next one comes.
Well, we order like a huge floor display of it, so we'll have like, I don't know, 30 of them, and so we
Because
just
I've
kind
been
of.
talking about this. I've been talking with several other LCS owners, and they said that their Dogman is the biggest seller that they have. That's why I was asking you.
No, it's not for us. I mean, for kids books probably yes. For overall, no. No, we actually eat, despite the comic book industry not being at its best, we still sell a lot of new comics, probably more so than anybody else in town.
I need to talk to Greg and Natalie and see about maybe getting them on and talk about Free Comic Book Day and see how that went for them too, because they have the shop in Seymour that's about 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, but there was a lot of good offerings this year.
I know
some items got canceled because of the thing with Diamond, and I don't know exactly how Free Comic Book Day is going to work next year because they technically own the name Free Comic Book Day. But I'm sure someone will buy that when the assets are sold, or we'll just call it like go to your local comic shop day.
Dude, I think Free Comic Book Day has done more for the comic industry and getting kids involved and getting new people involved than anything that they've done in a while.
Well, what I've noticed is we also run a major sale, and we do it a little differently. So like, I think we're like the only shop in town that you have the opportunity to get all of the free books. So the way I've learned the best way to do it is we offer one free book out of the assortment, and if you spend a certain threshold, you get all the books. And so we have to compete with the Kentucky Derby every year, which I talked to people at DC Comics years ago about that. Like, hey, is there any way we could maybe push to get that moved? And he's like, oh, sorry. And that's a fun story for another day. So we do pre-sales too. So our thing is like, you spend, and we have a huge sale. Like, no one can touch the sale. Like, all of our premium old back issues, I mean, we're talking like $700, $800, a couple thousand, are all 35% off. No store in town can touch that. They can't afford to touch it because they're so stuck in like, I paid this much for this book, I can't budge. If you come in my store right now, Dan, that book's been sitting up there for 10 years. I'll give you $30. You got 60. I'm like, all right, let me get it down for you. Because obviously we're still around, so we've made our money off of it. Whatever buy we did to get it. But we do it in a way where, you can come in and get one free book. You spend $50 or more, you get all the free books. And a lot of our customers will do the pre-sales because they're doing derby events or they're working derby events. And in that way, you can kind of be in two places at once. So they get to take advantage of the sale. They get the free books. They don't miss out on any of it. And where people just don't want to deal with that crazy crowd in the morning. Is like, and this year wasn't too bad with that. Like, nobody had an anxiety attack, mainly me, with 200 people bum rushing the store. It seemed like maybe it's only 150, but dollar wise, it was like crazy. I mean, like I said, we did $5,000 more than my best year ever. And I think my best year ever was probably 2018. And we did 5,000 more. And that's with these pesky tariffs that have been going on for 2 days.
I can say that my LCS very organized. They had the line around the building organized. They were giving out raffle prizes. They were giving out things for the first 10 people, the first 100 people at the doors. They had it super organized, and they've been in business for 40 years or so. And so they did very well. They did probably the best year that they've done, but I've been talking to them leading up to this, and their sales are increasing. They're not decreasing. So I think the comic industry is not taking the hit that people thought it was going to take. It's weird, but
well, no, sales numbers are down. Sales numbers have been down on individual comics for years because of the content and some of the attitudes that the big companies have had. Now there has been a change in that. I mean, like there's been things like Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb being on Batman again that spiked sales. The absolute titles have spiked sales. The ultimate titles have spiked sales, and the Energon universe stuff has spiked sales. So there are like we've kind of hit the floor, and we're slowly, not us as a store, but like the industry has kind of hit the floor and is slowly kind of coming up. I don't think we're going to sink down anymore, but they've just done. It's just been relaunch after relaunch and content and the writers and artists attacking fans or making comments that you really don't want. Like I don't discuss politics and religion in the store, and I don't discuss U of L and UK in the store because that's even worse.
You don't want a couch burn in your parking lot?
Yeah, you could talk politics all day, but you mentioned U of L and UK, it's a fight. But like irregardless, any things get brought up from time to time. Customers will come in and talk, that sort of thing. But like, I have people I know that disagree with me, and I treat them all the same, So and it's really all that matters, And the key thing is to treat everybody nice, and treat it. It's a business. We treat it like a business. Businesses don't have opinions; they have customers. And so we try to be friendly to everybody. Everyone's welcome in my store. And we actually have a really diverse group of people that shop there. And it wasn't like, oh, we're going to pick this group and that group. It's just the way it is. And, if you're friendly and nice and you offer good customer service, which we do, and then you have good products, it's kind of a no brainer. But yeah, it's over last year, or it's incremental, like it's gone up. But not a lot. It's not a lot, but it's getting better. But like, yeah, Free Comic Book Day was huge, and there was some cool stuff. And last year had really good offerings too. I mean, like Gotcha Man, Flash Gordon, Conan from Titan Comics, the Energon Universe special, tons of stuff. And they're doing a good job of getting kid stuff. But I've noticed, at least for us, we have like 3 different groups that come in. We have our regulars. We have people that we only see on Free Comic Book Day, and they try to loot you for as much as they can. And then we have people that are like, hey, we heard about Free Comic Book Day, and little Johnny wants to get into this, or hey, I've been out of comics for a while. And so that segment's growing a lot more than the looters. Because we had a family of gypsies one year come in and wipe us out half our table. So that's why we put a spending threshold. And that was like back in, I think, 2009 or 10 or something. That was crazy. Can't let that happen.
My local LCS, they had a kind of a threshold. You got 3 free, and then if you bought anything, it didn't matter what you bought, they would give you 10. And then I think if you bought like something that was higher price, you got whatever you wanted. And they were doing the same thing you were. They were putting out some of last year's stuff they had left over next to this year's stuff, so people were grabbing both. But the formula is very similar.
Yeah, I don't understand why people just don't give out all the books. Like I like, because there's stores that are copying me now with the spending not as much as the threshold, but they're doing spending thresholds, and they still won't give you all the books. I'm like, why are you hoarding these books? I want that stuff gone. Like,
I don't know why they're hoarding the books. They're hoarding them so they can send them off and get them slabbed and then sell them at a higher price online.
Or you're giving some of my competition locally a lot more credit than they deserve.
I know
the whole slabbing thing is
I don't know if it's your local competition or not, but I know there's shops that do.
One store it's more about snobbery, which I don't understand that.
Terry, I think the whole slabbing thing has gone out of nouveau at the moment because there's been a lot of negativity and some underhandedness going on with that part of the industry. So it's kind of gone down quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's been some weird things like there was a scandal, and it wasn't the company, it wasn't CGC or anybody doing this. It was customers doing this, not my customers, but some of their customers. I don't know all the facts here, but apparently they were getting a book graded, and they would bust open the case and put in a lower book graded book, and then try to flip it. Some scenario like that. The only like real concern I've had that I've heard of is where like say we're all three, you guys are comic shops or you guys grade books, and you got a customer that comes to you, Terry, and says, what grade would you give this, Terry? And you're like, man, I give it about a 6. I give it about a 5.8. David gets a 6. So we're all almost at a 6, right? And then the customer sends it off to get it graded and comes back a 3. Like, how can we all three be so wrong? You know what I mean? That's the only thing I've heard.
There's a lot more criteria that goes into it. Dan, there's a lot more criteria that goes into it because I've investigated this particular topic. I am not a very big fan of CGC or that entire industry. I think it's a scam. That's my personal folks out there. So, do whatever you want to do, but I've investigated this. CGC's in Florida. I have 2 or 3 grading companies in Florida. I've investigated this topic highly, and there's a lot more detail things. They use magnifying glasses. They're using light things. They're doing all kinds of stuff with technology to grade this stuff. So the grading is a different thing altogether that people really don't understand. That's why I've had to find out about it myself, because I didn't understand it completely, but I have more knowledge of it now, and I still think it's a little bit shady and fishy. Todd McFarlane is very vocal about this. You can go on his socials and he'll talk about when he goes to CGC or these places to get autographs, and he'll do videos about it and how they do their practice and stuff like that. He's very vocal. You can watch that stuff. It's a very double-edged sword. You take what you get, or you don't do it, because
when I say grade a
sometimes
book,
it's not what you expect.
Yeah, when I say we grade a book, like that's what we do. We don't slab them, but we like grade them to price them. That's what we do for a living. And so like I have guys that are expert graders. They've actually gotten certifications for it. So we know what to do when we grade stuff. What I'm saying is if you go to 3 shops that they do that, because we have a very large back issue inventory now. And we have a lot of key books and stuff. I mean, we had an amazing Fantasy 15 that I had right before Free Comic Book Day last year, and moved like a week or 2 before that event, or I think it was that week actually. I can't remember. But like like I'm talking about, like if you take it to a shop that understands how to grade a comic book, that you can look at a book and you can, okay, this is a 6, this is a 9, this is 9.2. Like I've heard where I've had other shops call me and say, hey, I want to send this book to you. Tell me what you think, and have some of your graders look at it. Because I have 2 guys, one that passed away, unfortunately, last year. And then a friend of mine, he can look at the book because he deals with so much of this stuff. He can look at the corners, the spine, the interiors, page color, and he knows exactly what the grade is. And he's always
David, that's like our friend Jason Packard. He can look at a mint and sealed box G.I. Joe item and pretty much predict exactly what grade it's going to get before he sends it into AFA.
Because he knows the field. He's studied the field. He's an expert in that type. I could do the same thing. I could grade a comic by looking at it. Let me see it. Let me flip through it. Comic. I'm not a comic grader, but I am well versed enough in this industry for the last 45 years that I've been collecting and dealing with this, selling comics, working for 3 LCSs, being a fan, dealing with grading of comics. I could do it without hesitation. the problem with it is my opinion is my opinion. I don't have a license to do this, but it's my opinion. Yours is yours. Dan's is Dan's. And when they get 3 or whatever guys to grade a comic, that's 3 or 4 or 5 guys' opinions, and they round them up. It's kind of like what the gas stations do, where you have a bunch of gas stations in an area. One might be $3.29, one might be $3.25, one might be $3.27. So they round it up and come up with $3.26 as their price for the day. That's the same thing as how grading comics is.
No, it's a little bit different than that. I think you're missing what I'm saying, but like I've had other shops that have given a grade to a book, and they have people that grade because they do shows and they flip books at shows and high-end books, so they have to be on their P's and Q's with this stuff. Same thing with us, same thing with a friend of mine, and same thing with some of the other shops I'm friendly with. We have to be able to grade the book properly, to price it properly, to sell it online properly. Because the last thing you want to do is, and this isn't the original, it's a facsimile, grade this improperly and then sell it online. I say it's a 6 and it's really a 2. That's technically, it's kind of fraud and you're ripping the customer off. You don't want to do that. You want to be as accurate as you can be. And if you don't know, we just don't list it. But like I'm talking about when you have 3 entities or more that they do this for a living, this is how they make their money, and they all agree as 6, 6, 6. This is a 6, a 5, 8. And then you get, it comes back, it's a 2. Like you can't be that radically off. You just
Guys,
can't.
I'll be back here in a minute. You're welcome to keep talking about the grading thing, but I'll be back here in a few minutes to close us out and all that.
Terry's bored.
No, I'm not bored. Ivy got
Terry's
up.
like,
Ivy got up from her nap, so I gotta make sure she's settled, and then I'll be right back.
So the thing about grading is I've sold very expensive comics from my own collection because I didn't feel that I could properly maintain this in my collection. Like Amazing Spider-Man #1 signed by Stan Lee. Now, I sold it probably about 12 years ago. This is about 2013 or so. So I'm dating this. And it sold cash. He gave me 2 offers. He said, if you want it for credit, I can do it this price. If you take cash, I can give you a higher price. So just as an example, this was not a very good copy, in my opinion. It was rough. And I'll even preface this by saying Stan Lee was like, you're getting my autograph on a comic that looks like this? And I'm like, Stan, I can't afford a mint copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1. I was a teenager when I bought that. It was I bought it for $250 at my local LCS. I flipped it for $1,000 more with Stan's autograph on it. That was 20 years after I bought it. So, and now it's 12 years later now. What do you think that comic would be in your opinion? And I've looked this up because it happened. So that's why I was curious. Where do you think that falls in a grading average? Not high end, not low end, an average.
well, even if it's a lower grade, depending on what online auctions do, auction houses, supply and demand, movies, all that sort of thing, eBay sales, shop sales, all those go up. Like for instance, this was back, I think in 2011 or 2012, I had a guy bring in Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the one I sold. That's the first appearance of Spider-Man. Sold that last year, and everybody wants to know how much and to who. And I had to sign an NDA with the buyer on all that.
I can believe that because
It was a big one.
auction,
We'll just say that it was. If I could have kept the money, I would have went and bought a new car and paid cash. But
Dan, Christie's auction has sold Amazing Fantasy 15 like certain grades. Like I think it was a 6.5, 8.5, like in the millions.
Yeah, what I'm saying is back in 2011, I think it was, because we had this convention in town that died off pretty quickly because we can't have nice things in our city, and because it's stuck in the 70s. But they this guy had got one from his grandfather, inherited it from him, and he said, "What do you think it's worth?" I said, "Man, it's a lower grade." I said, "Man, and at the time, I'm going off of my Overstreet guide at the time because Overstreet comes out every year because they revise it. Because like when we price out books, we go by Overstreet, a mixture of Overstreet, eBay, and then gut, and then what things are selling for. And so I looked at it and I said, man, it's probably about a $5,000 book. He said, all right, cool. So then, yeah, 5,000 for a very low grade. So then we went a few months later for a low grade book. So a few months later, it was signed at the convention. And I said, hey, man, do you still have that? He goes, yeah. I said, you probably want to revise that number I gave you to about 12,000 because one sold at auction for $1 million is one of the first comics that hit that mark. And it so it automatically raises the value of all the grades. He said, yeah, I'm not getting rid of that. I said, I wouldn't either. Because a low grade now, you could probably get, I'd say 12, probably 10 to 15,000.
What? That's way too low. I'm looking at 80,000 to 100,000 for a low grade because
no, that's way too much.
Very good or good is like 800,000 for Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna leave everybody off on that note. I have
leave on a cliffhanger.
Go play with some Play-Doh, so okay. I've got to make some Play-Doh stuff, and
that sounds awesome.
You know what? It is. It really is.
Although Play-Doh, I don't like the touch of it.
I don't like it, but Ivy likes to mix all the colors together, and that triggers me a little bit. Like I have a hard time getting used to that or accepting it. But
Wyatt and I were playing with Play-Doh one night, and I just thought I was Carl from Caddyshack, and I was trying to make him into animals to kill the gopher.
Well, she's got all kinds of molds.
This has really been. Terry, this has been fun as always. Lively discussions and stuff. Keep me up with everything. I appreciate it again.
Yep, anytime. Thank you for joining us, David. And
good to see you guys.
We'll I'll see everybody on Tuesday with the Circle of Jerks live stream, and then next Sunday with Toy Talk Live. So
have a great week, everybody.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Keep an eye out for my channel as well. New news review. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, you need to link that here in the. Send me a link to it so I can put it in the description.
Okay. Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Bye, Dan.
See you guys.